Thanks for joining us for another episode of Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. We're here for our NFL Conference Championship review episode. 4 have gone to 2, and Super Bowl 58 is set up. We are going to look forward to the Chiefs against the San Francisco 49ers, but first of all, we need to review how we got there. We're going to take an in-depth look at the AFC and NFC Championship games, review how our 2 competitions have been going, take a look at the winning Fantasy Gameday lineup, and have a sneak preview at Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas in just short of 2 weeks' time. Byron, Joe, welcome. We're down to one final game. How are we feeling? It's gone. 270-odd games, whatever it is, that the NFL season has given us, and we're down to one final game.
Yeah, who could have seen Chiefs 49ers coming as well? Great weekend of football. Good to have a week off, but just a great weekend of football. And I'm sure Joe's got more to say on it than me, so I'll quickly hand over.
If he's got any fingernails left, that is.
I would say it was a great ending. I think I'd given up and decided I wasn't going to watch NFL anymore again when you got to the halftime of the NFC game. But no, great weekend. It's flown by. It only feels like 2 seconds ago when we're doing the predictions and talk about week 1, and then suddenly the Super Bowl's here, and some people predicted this Super Bowl before the season, but I'm going to say who? Hint.
Yes, congrats, Joe, for correctly predicting the 2 teams that would win their conferences and get to Super Bowl 58. Yeah, it is wild. We've done 2 episodes a week for 21 weeks so far, right? 20 weeks, I should say.
Yeah.
That's crazy. We've done 40
That is crazy.
Season, yeah.
Goodness me. Seems a long time since we were picking the Bengals to be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least you got the Niners.
Yeah, that's true. I did pick the Niners Bengals Super Bowl. Yeah, can we just burn that slide, Joe?
Burn my part, certainly. Bengals Super Bowl. Is that
I feel like we'll be chatting about it in the next week when we review our picks and see how well we did. We did surprisingly well in some parts. It was wasn't all terrible picks.
Yeah, there's extreme highs and extreme lows, I think, when we review that. But that's next week. Let's get into the games, and let's start with the AFC. So the Kansas City Chiefs, Baltimore Ravens, 17-10 to the Chiefs. Chiefs went into Baltimore, and I don't want to say smacked them around because the scoreline was close, but this never felt close. It felt like the Chiefs were fully in control of this game from after the first drive, really. That was from my perspective watching it. You know, Byron, Joe, kind of how did you see this as it was unfolding?
I'd maybe disagree a little on how comfortable it felt, but it felt like the Chiefs could step up if they needed to. I will say that, certainly. I'm kind of stunned by Baltimore and what they didn't do.
Yeah.
I just, it's really easy to look at Lamar's bad pick and Zay Flowers. You want to call it like rookie, not knowing that you shouldn't be stretching the ball. But I think experienced players do that as well. And he'll certainly, I don't think he'll do it again.
It was a mad sort of like 3 minutes he had, wasn't it?
Yeah, he had the taunting call, and then he had the giving it away, fumble into the end zone, which it's just crazy. But I mean, the biggest thing I think is I don't know why the Ravens didn't run the ball. I believe the Ravens had 25 first downs in the game, and I think they ran on first down 5 times, and it just didn't stack up. I'm not saying you should run the ball every down. We criticized Bobby Slowick a few weeks ago against the Ravens for running it every time on 1st and 10, but I don't know. It just felt like Baltimore just got so in their own head in this game. And Todd Monken, I was a big fan of coming into the season. I was excited about the Ravens. And he was one of the key reasons. I couldn't wait to see what Lamar done in fantasy. It was, in our league, I drafted him earlier than I think anyone else would have done. And for the most part, I think that was largely okay. He's going to be the MVP. And then it, again, just felt like they got here. And it was like, I dare say, we'll get on to the second game when we do. But it felt almost more than, there's been some stuff thrown at Dan Campbell of like being himself so much. And it just felt like the Ravens did the complete opposite and got to the dance and then became this soft flair team, which is sometimes thrown around about the Chiefs in years gone by, especially when it's like, when you're looking for a criticism of the Chiefs because there's so few of them. But it just felt like Baltimore just decided to become like an air raid, throw the ball team and gave up on what they are. I just found it staggering. I think it's a real wasted opportunity because the Chiefs are a good team. Spagnuolo's got that defense going real well. Kelsey, 11 targets, 11 catches, got the most playoff catches in history. Anytime you stand near Jerry Rice or you break a Jerry Rice record, it's historic, obviously. It's Jerry Rice. But I do think on balance of 22 weeks, Ravens are a better team than Kansas City, but they did not turn up on Sunday more than the Chiefs turned up and give them a beating. I just don't think the Ravens turned up for the game.
Yeah, it was just so odd watching it, and I don't know if the Ravens felt or offensively that Mahomes and the Chiefs offense started so well. It was like, right, we need to keep up, as opposed to force your will on them, run the ball, leave him sat down for stretches at a time.
And you're never more than
that way.
You're never more than 7 points behind.
Yeah,
like lost by 7 points, and they just gave up running the ball so early in the game. I do not know why.
It's insane. Yeah. So when you just have a look, so Lamar 8 carries, Gus Edwards 3 carries, Zay Flowers 2 carries, Justice Hill 3 carries. It was 16 carries for what? 80. What's that? 81 yards.
Yeah, I don't have it up, I must be honest. But it's there about 81
yards. 81 yards. When you run the ball 20, late 20 attempts, 20 rush attempts a game usually. It was insane. But I think a lot of that's on the Chiefs defense because they stopped them what they were wanting to do. They forced them into 3rd and longs. We talked about early on in the season how the Chiefs defensively were carrying the team and that they maybe dropped off a bit. Well, they've picked up again because they are flying at the minute. Chris Jones is becoming a game wrecker again. The secondary's suffocating. People are making plays in that Kansas City defense all over the show. And the Ravens just didn't have an answer. Yeah. I mean, apart from Zay Flowers, there just wasn't anything else. I was real disappointed Odell didn't show up, or OBJ didn't really show up in this one. No, but, Isaiah Likely was fairly quiet. Mark Andrews was fairly quiet on return from his injury. Yeah. It was Zay Flowers or nothing. And, he couldn't do it on his own.
Turned out it was nothing.
I suppose shining the light on the Chiefs, because we talked about from a Ravens perspective how disappointing it was. This machine's just clicking into gear again. They did it with the defense was pretty solid all throughout. Did it with offense in the first half. The Ravens defense, credit to them, stepped up the second half and shut down the Chiefs. The offense just couldn't take advantage of it. But this Chiefs team is rolling. It's scary, isn't it? Now they're in that period of the team where actually the regular season can just be a warm up now.
It sometimes felt like that with New England, and it does feel like we're starting to get that same energy. And what is a really weird kind of, and I'm not the only person to make this point this last week, it really does feel like in the Chiefs' offense, it's like addition by subtraction. You get rid of Sky Moore, you get rid of Kadarius Toney, you stop wasting those routes, trying to give them yak and trying to create opportunities for them, and get back down to MBS and Justin Watson. And obviously Rashee Rice is the star of that little group, but MVS and Justin Watson are not great wide receivers in any stretch, but they're relatively, I don't want to say reliable, but like they don't make like brain fart plays. They might not make every catch, certainly, or they'd be, I was going to say they'd be getting paid a lot more. MVS gets paid an awful lot for what he does, actually, but they're just, Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney have just felt like, since they've gone out the lineup, it feels like Patrick Mahomes knows who's on the field and knows that he can trust them to do what he knows they'll do. Whereas Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore, it just feels like he doesn't know where they're going to be on routes. He doesn't know if they're going to catch the ball or give it to the other team, because Kadarius Toney felt like a third of his catches go through his hands and somehow end up in the defender's mitts. I'm not even blaming him for that. That is, must be luck. But the other ones, at least, are going to be in the right place. And then you just pepper Kelsey and you pepper Rice, and Pacheco didn't have the hugest game this week, but generally you just stick to that core little trio, and know where the other guys are going to be. And that feels like it's enough because you have Patrick Mahomes, so you don't need to worry about the rest.
But,
and I feel like I don't think Tony's playing again now. I don't know if you saw the Instagram post saying he wasn't actually injured, what KC have said he is. So, yeah, he's no longer going to be a Chiefs. He's going to be out there somewhere for some team like the Bears or someone to take a punt.
I can fix him.
Yeah.
Crazy considering he made, a couple of the biggest plays that helped them win a Super Bowl against the Eagles last year, and it's mad how the downfall is. You mentioned,
sorry,
but it's similar to the Patriots, though, like how that there was. Well, it was like Butler made that huge play, and then he got dropped the Super Bowl afterwards. So that kind of team where it feels as long as you got your star quarterback, star tight end, and a good defense, that just feels like the formula for this team.
Yeah, ruthless. Like people aren't doing the business. Get short. You mentioned Pacheco there a few moments ago. Pacheco had 24 carries versus the Ravens rushed the ball 16 times, and he didn't have a big day. I think short 70 yards, and he had rushed a touchdown in, but they had a commitment to balance the Chiefs, and a lot of that was maybe in the second half, and they couldn't get stuff moving. But I think probably what was real surprising to me early on was how easy on that, especially that first drive, but especially that first half, the Chiefs were able to move the ball both on the ground and through the air. Yeah. This Ravens defense that we sort of said in the preview would be so difficult to move the ball on wasn't. Travis Kelce dealt with Kyle Hamilton. It was a one-on-one battle all day long, and Kelce won it every single time. You mentioned 11 targets, 11 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. And that's not to Kyle Hamilton isn't a bad player. Of course he's not. He's been incredibly good and will continue to be incredibly good. But Kelce just had him every single time.
And he had a decent game as well. He made some big plays, and that touchdown what Kelce got on him, it was like, what else can you do? I think that's the kind of play it's been. It's where the coverage was more or less perfect, unless he was going his shorts. It's he couldn't have done much else, and Mahomes put it in the right place for Kelce, who feels like if you throw anywhere near his wingspan, he's going to bring it in, because some of their plays, especially that in the first half, I don't know if it was the first or second drive, where Mahomes was spinning around and threw it behind Kelce, and he managed to twist and like I think it was a third down as well. It's like that's the kind of play what it might have been fourth, that where it keeps a drive alive and that gets them the points. It's that special play where you think if Kelce Kelce's that special, if he wasn't there, then the one gets to this point. I don't think it's just had an outstanding game, and give it up to all of them. But on the flip, I think what disappointed me in this game was it felt like Lamar Jackson was waiting for something to happen most of the time. He was just sitting in the pocket quite a lot, just waiting for something happening. Before, he's made his name on scrambling, and I know he doesn't want to do that all the time. And is it one of them things where he's trying to prove that he's a pocket passer rather than just a scrambler? And I do think it has been mentioned elsewhere that he may have lost a yard or two, because when he broke that big run 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago, he would have gone past that defender, but he knew he wasn't going to get past him, and he prepared it. He was like more or less sliding and getting ready for the tackle, rather than 3 or 4 years ago he would have just run straight past him, and that's a touchdown right there. So I wonder if that's in back of his mind. But it just felt like they were waiting for something to happen all game, and then just when it came to when they had the opportunities, they just wasted it in terms of the fumble, and just that interception felt like that killed the game as well, because you're 10 points down, at least get a field goal there and get to 7 points, and you have another chance. But and that's what I think the difference between the team is when it mattered, when you needed a big play, a big moment, the Chiefs hit it, like the MVS catch when he was third down. Because if they stopped them there, they would have punted it back with 2 minutes, with a 2 minute stoppage, and they got a chance to get back into that game, but to get their 7 points and be 17-all, but they just didn't execute, and the vice versa when the Ravens had a chance, like the Zay Flowers and the interception. It was they just gave away this game, and disappointing. But on your side of it, Paul, watching this game, I never felt like the Ravens were going to get back into it, even if they had the chances. It felt like if they'd got that touchdown, then the Chiefs would have just thought, oh, we actually have to play now and not just manage this game and not do anything second half, and they would have got a touchdown. They feel like that kind of team.
Once it got to 7-7, obviously the Ravens had the touchdown to Zay Flowers. Once the Chiefs got the ball back and took 9 minutes, drove up the field methodically. I think it was an 18 play, 75-yard drive. I was like, yeah, this is done. No way the Ravens are going to stop them. And that's not how it turned out, because the second half, the Ravens defense were incredible and just slowed the Chiefs right down. But I just felt at that moment, there's just no way the Chiefs were going to lose this game. And yeah, the self-inflicted wounds. There's a lot of the stuff we talked about around what the Ravens need to do, and how it was going to be the Chiefs that we're going to need to really do something to avoid struggling. Like, the Ravens couldn't really get to Mahomes, so we talked about how important it was for them to get to Mahomes with rushing 4. They didn't really. They had to start sending 5 and 6 to get pressure on him in the second half. And by then the damage was done. The zones, the Chiefs just carved up the zones that they had. Kelsey thrives, lives for those situations, those zones where Mahomes gets to keep hold of the ball. There was a little bit of the draw it up in the dirt, backyard football, Kelsey Mahomes. We've not seen that for a while. There was a bit of that going on as well. And yeah, you're right. I think it's a really, really big missed opportunity for the Ravens. I think, Lamar copped a lot of criticism Sunday night. He didn't have a good game, did he, at all? And there's a little bit, maybe should he have just used his legs a bit more? I don't know, because I don't think the Chiefs really gave him opportunity to. There weren't many options where there was lanes for him to run or to kind of get out the pocket and run. The Chiefs did a really, really good job in terms of being disciplined, that rush lane discipline, and kind of keeping him where they just didn't really have anywhere to go, and they were getting the internal pressure. So that combination of the wide pass rushers keeping the discipline and pressure, particularly from Chris Jones, I thought was just incredible all night long, all afternoon long.
And there was a play where Chris Jones was about to sack Lamar in the end zone, and Justice Hill tripped him. Justice Hill legs come out like Aiden Hutchinson, and it's a blatant trip, and it get missed. People say the Chiefs get all the calls. Well, that should have been another 2 points and a free kick. That wasn't. So, yeah, I think, could have been more. I did just want to give out one kind of shout out to, not that he needs a shout out for me, but Steve Spagnuolo, who, again, what a season for the Chiefs. I've seen this tweet the other day from a sports writer, Ronnie Joselri. By DVOA, the 2023 Ravens and the 2007 Patriots are top 5 all-time teams. Both teams, when they got eliminated from the playoffs, held their opponents to 17 points, and both lost. Both, obviously, the Giants DC with Steve Spagnuolo in 2007, beat the Patriots 17-14. Chiefs come in and beat the top 5 all-time Ravens 17-10. Lucky for the Chiefs, he sucked as a head coach, so there's no clamour for him to go anywhere. And just what a wonderful thing that is for Andy Reid and his troops, because man, that guy can scheme up a defense when it matters.
Again, we was about the start of the season, they were so good, tailed off a bit, but they've come roaring back in the playoffs. Going to go up against the 49ers and going to cause the 49ers problems from a defensive perspective. I think, just living back the key moments in this one, I think, we've got to talk about the Zay Flowers fumble on the goal. I'd say fumble on the goal line, stretch the ball back. I think Snead makes such a great play, to do, to knock that out.
That didn't fall out. That one was knocked out.
Yes, knocked out for sure, and and that's all the 7-point difference, because the Raven, if Flowers just goes down, I'm fairly confident they run it in from there, and it's a different game, just heads up play, making a big difference for your team. Lamar, that's probably one of the worst throws I've seen Lamar make for a while into triple coverage to Likely. Again, it felt forced when it didn't need to be, because the game was only 10 points at that point. Throwing it in and forcing it into Likely into triple coverage, and you saw the frustrations on the sideline. Lamar chucking his helmet about, just feel like a missed opportunity for the Ravens. The Ravens are in an interesting spot, and let's just talk about the future of the Ravens. Interesting spot. So they've got some of the coaches are kind of in demand, I guess, from the great season that they've had. There's question marks about whether Lamar can do it in the big games, which seems unfair after he had such a great game last week against the Texans. What's the future looking like for the Ravens?
I think it's hard to ever be too despondent for the Ravens' future, because they're so well run. I don't think there's any chance Todd Monken goes anywhere. Mike McDonald, maybe with obviously the Ben Johnson news that he's sticking in Detroit. It feels like that's maybe a door opening for him in Seattle or Washington. So there's more chance that he leaves, obviously, because I don't think Todd Monken's interviewed really, if anywhere. I don't think he's a serious candidate anyway. The Lamar stuff, you're in a conference with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, plenty of others, now CJ Stroud, his own division, Joe Burrow, Herbert and Jim Harbaugh now. I think there's always, sometimes it grates on me quite a lot over the years, I guess, of like, this guy can't do it because he doesn't win a Super Bowl. Like, they only give one out a year, and the Chiefs are fucking good. I don't think, and we'll get to his game in a little bit, but like, the same thing kind of gets thrown a little at Kyle Shanahan, who like is such a great coach, but has yet to win a Super Bowl. So it's like, I don't think that reduces the impact, the possibility he can win one next year or the year after. But it just kind of sucks because I love Lamar and one of probably my favorite player to watch period in the league. And until he wins it, he'll always have that monkey on his back of, can he win it? I don't know if he can, but I do know it's, it is a quarterback driven league, but it is a team game as well. I don't think the Ravens not winning is because Lamar Jackson isn't up to it.
I think the only issue is that when you look at obviously the win of the Texans, and that's why I thought everyone thought, okay, he's got that monkey off his back, where there's been plenty of playoff performances where he just hasn't shown up. Mm-hmm. But again, it's a big game. Like if it was similar to how Josh Allen lost to the Chiefs, was it the year before?
Every year it feels like.
Yeah, like 2 years ago when it was the back and forth all the time. And you're like, well, Josh Allen couldn't have played any better.
Yeah.
It's, he's just got outgunned and, it was defense. But it feels like with Lamar Jackson, some of the games, just like, he just wasn't there. Yeah, it just wasn't himself. And, that's the whole team. But unfortunately, the NFL is used to judge, it's judged on the quarterback most of the time. Yeah. And that's just how it is. They get all the glory and they also get all the criticism when it happens.
And all the pennies.
It will be cute. Yeah, exactly. And obviously he got paid big this year. So, I think the Ravens are always going to be thereabouts because the draft well. They feel like there's plenty of players who you've never heard of the year before they drafted 3 years ago suddenly gets a sack every game for 12 weeks until Paul bets in them. So it's
also got half a sack this week when I didn't.
Yeah. So they're always that kind of team where it feels like the structures well, where they always make the playoffs or thereabouts. Sometimes win the division, sometimes don't. So, but I think the question is it going to be like the teams when the Patriots are around, like the, Phil Rivers Chargers and plenty of others, which just couldn't get to the Super Bowl because they just kept losing to Brady. And, you look at Peyton Manning, I know he won 2, but when you look at that team and everything around him, if Brady wasn't there, he would have gone to, 6, 7 Super Bowls. But you just feel unlucky that you're in that conference again, where, it's not just the quarterback, it's the coach, it's the system, it's the inevitability where, terrible year in terms of what the Chiefs are, and they still get the Super Bowl. That's the kind of thing where this year everyone would like write them off, and it wasn't a good year. You think, if next year to get a few weapons, and Kelsey doesn't retire, it's, geez, look out again. It's going to have to take like a performance like what Joe Burrows does, and until Lamar Jackson does that, he's always going to be judged that because. The players who have beat Mahomes, it's similar to Allen's. But Allen's going to have that stick until he beats him. You think the only players who have beat Mahomes are Brady and Burrows now?
Yeah.
So, until you get into that group, then you're always going to be judged.
Yeah, I saw a crazy tweet that was outside a lot of responses to it, calling for John Harbaugh's head, which is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. Insane. But yeah, it just feels like, kind of getting a real good chance in 2019, real good chance this year, and they've just not capitalized. And it wasn't even the Chiefs that time, was it? It was the Titans. Yeah, so it just kind of feels there's a couple of opportunities there that have really slipped through the fingers. Kind of everything was there for the Ravens, and yeah, they just didn't show up. Let's do what we've got to do. Let's give Mahomes, the Chiefs, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, that defense, absolutely their flowers. Byron, you've dropped a note in there, but I was going to bring it up anyway. Yeah, that's Patrick Mahomes' 14th playoff win. He's level with the full list. It's not just Peyton Manning. Level with Peyton Manning, John Elway, Terry Bradshaw already. And he's what, 27?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's 2 years into his second contract?
Yeah, and he's now 2 behind Joe Montana, 21 behind Brady, but 14-3 record. No, 90. Yeah, no, 21. Sorry.
So that would have been the number 1 seed in either division this year, right?
Yeah. And
in the playoffs only.
He's, again, apologies, I didn't note the source, but he's got 14-3, so that's a full 17-game season worth of playoffs. And it's insane. It's 4,800 yards, 20-something passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, and a passer rating over 100 in those 17 games. It's insane. And Travis Kelce, as you mentioned, passed Jerry Rice's record of all-time playoff receptions. I think Kelsey's had 600-plus yard receiving games in his last 12 playoff games and 13 touchdowns in those 12 playoff games, which is
Just when you said that single season passing number there, I had to look up because it's one of my favorite horrible single season stats is the Bears have never had a 4,000 yard passer ever, not had one in their history. Their highest is 3,838 yards, which is Eric Kramer in 1995 in a 16-game season for 239 yards a game. Patrick Mahomes, I just put it at 4,800. I didn't get the exact number you said, but that's 282 yards per game in the playoffs versus the Bears' best
at the highest
ever.
Level when the lights are the brightest. Yeah,
and 2 of them on the road.
Yeah,
and
2 of them on the road. Yeah,
unbeaten, still on the road. He's beating that
quick,
Ravens playoff conference hosting start out the water.
Yeah. Just incredible stuff. 4th Super Bowl in the last 5 years. And Joe, that was the word I was going to use to describe it. Inevitable. It just is. And you know what? Las Vegas, you keep giving me plus money on the Chiefs in the playoffs, and I will keep taking plus points on the Chiefs in the playoffs. And plus money, I guess, because I took a money line. And I'll keep taking it. I'm going to keep taking it because there's just an air of inevitability about it. Let's just run through the bets. How did we do for this one, guys?
Badly.
Yeah.
I had Justice Hill over receptions, and I think that was my lot. I had Rashad Bateman, longest reception in the game, and his longest reception was 2 yards, so that didn't win. I know that. I know that didn't win.
Lamar Jackson had a longer reception than that.
Brilliant. He wasn't even listed. Why would he be? That'd be weird. There was a DraftKings special, thankfully, which I got on a little. Mahomes or Jackson throw a first quarter touchdown, which I mean, considering there was only 27 points in the game, actually, it was a bit of a surprise it came in. But terrible early game for me.
I went for the Jackson 2 touchdowns again. I thought he would, that's why he would attack, but obviously not. They didn't rush. And then my parlay, I got over 15.5 yards, and Travis Kelce I had plus 50. I think that was done within like 5 minutes. But I had Noah Gray over 10.5, which he got 8, which came a shot. And then I had Justin Hill over 33.5 rush yards, which I think was 2 or 3. You know what I mean? So as soon as I stopped that, I was like, well, that's that bet over. I also did like a little one. I went Kyle Hamilton to get an interception, but yeah.
I love that line. What was like plus 850, right?
Yeah. And I thought they'd be throwing to Kelce a lot, and he could be there, especially like bouncing around. He's normally around the ball, but not quite.
Yeah, we talked about the Kelce drops, didn't we? No sign of that happening on Sunday. Yeah, he was at it. My prop's not so good. I had the Ravens rush attempts over 30.5, which was nowhere near. It just made no sense what they did. It was bizarre. Hit on. So I had the Chiefs, took them plus 4 in the end. And then I also had Kansas City Chiefs money line. I had them at just short of 2-1. So yeah, pretty good. And I'd hammered the plus 4, hammered the money line from a units perspective. You mean 2-1 on Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? it's just daft not to take it, isn't it? Really, it's daft not to take it. Chiefs roll on. They're going to represent the AFC in their 4th Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Let's move on to the second game. Joe, how are you feeling during this one? Detroit Lions against San Francisco 49ers. The Niners come back from 17 points at halftime to win 34-31. Let's just start off with how you're feeling about getting through this one, a second close one after the Packers in the divisional round.
Yeah, it was one of them games where everyone had the thing about Shanahan never comes back. 7 points down or whatnot, and they were like, 17 points at halftime. I thought, well, that's it. I was not happy. Wasn't looking forward to doing the podcast. Wasn't forward to even thinking about NFL, just because it was just a disaster. From that first drive, what was it, 4 players, and they went down the field, and I think I saw a stat, I think from week, it was 13 or 15, they've been the 22nd best defense. So obviously they can get got at, and I felt like they would try and, the weaknesses were shown last week, and I thought they had the players to try and counteract that, especially the runs on the outside, because that's where the linebackers are normally there to sweep up. But, you could argue between the 49ers and the Ravens who the best pair of linebackers are, but they just didn't fix that, and it just felt like they were just not going to stop them all game. It felt like Detroit was just getting 10 yards, 12 yards. It wasn't even close. He was like, oh, can we stop them on this third down? It was like, no, they've already got 12 yards on the first down. Or they've got 8, 9 yards, just a simple running from Montgomery or Gibbs. So it felt inevitable that they were going to lose that. I just was not. It was a terrible first half display. I think the offense was playing how the offense normally play, where they'll have a few good drives, but then they'll stall, and obviously missing the field goal didn't help. Then they get a touchdown, but then they get stopped once or twice. It feels like in the playoffs that happens quite a lot, but it's usually the defense keeps them in the games. Obviously that wasn't happening, and then it all changed in this, at halftime. Playing a bit of Journey on the jukebox in the crowd suddenly just inspired the players to think that they could come back. And I think I was going to send this, but I completely forgot it because he was showing when Lions play the 49ers when the last time they won a conference championship in the 50s or something like that. The 49ers were winning 24-7, 21-7, 24-7 at halftime, and the Lions beat them 31-24. So I was like, I wonder if history will repeat itself. Not quite. It was close, obviously, to repeat. But yeah, even that first drive, I thought we needed to get a touchdown coming out of halftime to get back into this game. And when we got that field goal, it was like, it's not good enough, because I just expected the Lions to just march back. Well, they basically did march all the way down the field, and I thought that we'll have the discussions with the 4th downs and should he have gone for it. And I'm happy that I did go for it. Reynolds probably should have caught it. I think the first one was a harder catch, but he big game, you got to catch that. But when the first thought, they're going to get a field goal, and we've just wasted 7 minutes to be 17 points down again. Obviously that happens, and then everything went crazy within a 8-minute period where ladybirds land on people's shoes and all this kind of stuff, and you get crazy catches, fumbles, touchdown here, and suddenly it's 24-all. And then how the Niners do it, they couldn't just go back up and get a touchdown to lead by 7. Obviously get that field goal, and then another 4th down. And even at the end, I knew they were going to score the touchdown at the end, because it's how the Niners play. It's how the Niners want to age me. I think I've aged plenty of years watching the Niners in the playoffs. They can't just win easily. I think they've only done it once or twice, but that was a stressful time. And even the onside kick was the flag because it was 8 9 yards when it happened. I was like, because I think they were saying as well, they did an onside kick. I think it was 2019. It was Lions versus 49ers, and Kittle fumbled it, and the Lions got it back. So I was just, I don't think I sat down for most of the game as well. I was just walking it. But, everything ended well, and back in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
Yeah, Reynolds just touched it too soon, didn't he? Too soon. Otherwise, yeah. But when I saw it in the moment, it was, it's like they had a shot and they had a shot recovering it. We'll talk. So I think we'll get into this. I think we've got some conflicting views on Dan Campbell and his aggressiveness on fourth down. So we got to chat through that. Crazy how easy the Lions were able to move the ball, and we know this offense is good. We know they've got the double-headed, beast running back. Know they've got great players in Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, and that Goff's been so good. But it was just, I know the Niners defense has struggled at times, but 10, 15 yards at a time with little resistance, the Lions were just able to move that ball on the ground and through the air. It didn't seem to matter which path they took. They were just getting big chunk play after chunk play after chunk play. Crazy how easy the Lions found it to move the ball.
I think it was some of the effort as well. I think that's been mentioned by the 49ers staff that they weren't happy with the effort some of the players were putting in with tackle, because I think I've said this from when they went on that 3-game skid where suddenly the tackling has gone haywire, where start of the year or year before, they were known as, if you get hit by a tackler, you get hit and you don't get any yards after catch. It felt like that was their advantages. They get loads on offense, and on defense they don't let you get any, and that's what their strength was against teams like the Cowboys, against the Eagles, and all that they had that. But from week I know it's from like 7 or 8 that suddenly they're just not doing that. And I think one player who's probably not helped himself is Chase Young. I think this game I was like, come on, Chase Young, do something. And he did 1 or 2 things near the end, but that first half I was like, wow, he's not getting any decent contract with how he's showing up right now. But
on the Gibbs run for the touchdown, it is crazy his lack of effort, because he could actually, if he'd just shifted his ass, can probably tackle Gibbs for like a 2-yard gain.
And again, just before he goes in the end zone as well, he's there.
Yeah. It is insane. Yeah, I think that's a real worry, Joe. I don't know if you're feeling that it is, but the lack of willingness to initiate contact from a lot of the players, which is insane when you look at the guys that are on that defense as well, was worrying. But yeah, the Lions were just electric in that first half. On offense, and they played really well defensively as well. The Lions did. We talked about how actually it might be the defense that lets them down in terms of, how easy it was to move the ball on them, and especially the second. I thought the Lions played really well defensively the first half, and to put them in that position where they're 17 points up at halftime, that's probably the best half of football that they have played the entire season.
Yeah. It felt like, I've spoken about it before. Like, I got real emotionally invested in this Lions team because it's hard not to, unless you're a Niners fan or, a Buccaneers fan the week before, etc. But it did feel like, oh my God, this is their moment. Fucking hell, they have come in and they've took it straight from the off. That JMO Williams touchdown was just like, and again to the Niners tackling point of like, okay, you're taking his undershirt off him, but maybe try stopping the man might help. And it was just like, oh my, this is it. It's going to be, wild Dan Campbell night. It's going to be, can't wait to see this post game. And I'm certainly not getting ahead of myself when I'm saying like that, but just like it felt, you're going to halftime 27-7. Am I right on that? 24-7?
24-7.
And it was 27-7 second half swap around. But yeah, then you say it's just a journey of it all, I guess. They come out, you go from Don't Stop Believing to Who's Crying Now. And that is a journey reference for us all there. And yeah, Joe's just pointed in the chat. Gardner Johnson.
Yeah, that was a bad move. Yeah,
but he did that block in the back, because I know him and Debo, but he's a scumbag.
Blocking his shoulder. It was more on Debo's bad shoulder. That was targeted. He knew what he was fucking doing.
Well, and Debo wasn't looking as well. Yeah.
It's a blindside hit on his injured shoulder. Waving at the fans at halftime, and I wanted this Lions team to win. Obviously, disappointed they didn't. I mean, I'm over it now. I'm not a Lions fan. It was a hard night even for a neutral like me. I was like gutted for them, but like seeing that really helped because fuck that guy.
Well, and the thing is, I don't mind, the smack talk, all that kind of thing, like the going out, like what Sherman would do and all that kind of things. Like, obviously, I didn't like it at the time because he was like coming off a loss, but you respect someone playing. It was the cheap shot where he knew what he was doing. He was going. As soon as he got the interception, he beeline for Debo, and it's just like that kind of play. That's the kind of stuff you don't want to see. But
just trying to take someone out,
And I don't want to make it sound like I mind the trash talk. I love it, but I grew up watching wrestling. I love it when you trash talk and fail because it's hilarious. If you trash talk and win, fair fucks. I respect the fuck out of it. If CJ had won and he hadn't done the dirty move, I would have thought that was incredible. But because he goes on to lose, I just think it's the best thing in the world because you have looked like such a fool.
Yeah. Let's talk about then the second half. So it was definitely flipped. And we have to talk about I feel we have to talk about Dan Campbell's decision.
Moody's kick, yeah. Oh, sorry.
Well, that was important because he missed the first one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was genuinely important. Like
48 yards.
It was such a big one because I think if he misses that, George Kittle came out today and spoke about the analytics of it all. It's like, these things don't account for momentum. Of course they don't. Like, they're not perfect. Nobody's saying analytics or anything are perfect. And you can't build in human character into a lot of these things because it's the human character, But I do think if that had been missed, I think that would have been a huge. Any kind of momentum the Niners could have built up would have been like a sunk thing of like you come out and then just immediately miss again. It's like, oh fuck! I think that might have been it. So I think that was a real huge nails kick from Jake Moody, who's had a rough last couple of months even maybe actually. Big kick, but yes, there is a bigger thing to talk about.
So, let's talk about Dan Campbell and his decisions. And I want to actually go back a little bit earlier in the game because we've seen this and we talked about it in our chats. And he's like, the Lions go for it because that's just what they do. That's who he is. He's uber aggressive. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I absolutely do not. You know what? I would love to have Dan Campbell as my coach. I would, it's not a slight. But I'm not, and personally, this is just my opinion. I'm not so buy that that's the way we do it. Because if Dan Campbell was really desperate for a 21-point lead, why didn't he go for it on fourth and 3 with 17 seconds to go in the first half?
I think it's to do with
field
play a couple of things.
Yeah, and you don't get the benefit of if we miss, if we don't convert it, they're at the 3 or whatever it was.
And I also think because the Niners got the ball first after the half, so if they stop them, for example, then it's only 14 points. And the Niners come out with all the momentum. Kicking that 3 points, it felt like shit. It's 3, it's 3 possessions, and it's halftime. We definitely have to do something going out. Like I think that was more of a risk reward in terms of if you don't get it, you don't get the them on the 2-yard line. And also you give them the momentum. I think kicking the 3 points there made sense because you had the momentum there.
And I think the bigger thing is the yardage. The field goal's a gimme for the 3 points.
Yeah.
Michael Badgley is a bad kicker. He's their backup kicker.
Yeah, and it's not a gimme kicker. It'd have been 45. Was it 45, I think, or 48?
Yeah, and his record is not good on that. His record outdoors is not good on that. 49 Stadium is windy. And I don't think it's even as... I think to a degree, Dan Campbell's going for it because he's Dan Campbell. I don't think Dan Campbell's analytically driven. I think Dan Campbell, and there's been nods to this in the post-matches, is Dan Campbell's trained... His coaching guru was Sean Payton, and Sean Payton done the same thing because defenses do not want you going for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
It scares them. However, on the plus side of it as well, though, the 2 big decisions that people are criticizing, the Josh Reynolds drop catch and the incredible bit of 49ers defense, I think, which is getting overlooked as well, because that looks like it's an instant flat route because it's on man, and they've switched it up and they go zone. Great defensive play call. Both of those were analytically, by ESPN's analytics thing, were plus decisions. So that's where I have an issue with it is analytically, the models say it's a correct decision. Whether you agree or disagree with the models, they're saying it's a correct decision. It's Dan Campbell's way who his win percentage added on his 4th down plays is like 90%, and it's about 60% higher than any of the other coaches in the Final 4. And they have a backup kicker in a tough environment. I think if you piece all those 3 together, I can't say a bad word about how... Well, no, I can't say a bad word about how Dan Campbell called the game, and it's the timeout run.
Yeah.
That's inexplicable. And Anthony fucking Ferguson turning like, again, me on the field. I don't know how he didn't get a touchdown. Like, it looked like the fucking... What was the boat that got stuck in the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal? It looked like that trying to turn around. The green something. I can't believe... I was just like, oh, this is a touchdown. He's got 40 yards to run into. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, oh, no, he's out of bounds. Like, how is he out of bounds? Like, anyway, but he was, because...
But yeah, that third, to choose to run the ball there when you...
Yeah, that is inexplicable. That I will criticize gladly.
Yeah. And especially... I was going to say, I'm going to step by step. So if you go the first one, the first fourth down
Josh Reynolds drop.
So they execute that perfectly.
Score, by the way. So if you convert that fourth and two, the first one, you don't score because you from where you are. You've still got to finish that drive.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
But you might be closer to then go for 3 more comfortably. You might score a touchdown. Yeah. You might eat 4 more minutes.
Might turn the ball over.
You might.
But you are 14 points up. I think that's the big thing. That I agree with that one because the 14 points up, so they've got a healthy lead. I think if they convert, and it wasn't like the Niners had stopped them at that point.
No, and I get that as well. Yeah, like
so they were still thinking that yes, the Niners have still got to come back. Even if we don't get this, they've got to get 2 touchdowns with us not getting anything. And how this game's going.
What are the chances?
You know? What are the chances? Yeah, you know what I mean. It is. So Josh Reynolds dropped that, and that was one where just it was a drop. It was basically, And
but you're also going to.
I was surprised they didn't run it. That's what I was expecting to, because there was plenty of times when there was like 3rd and 12, was it, and 3rd and 18.
Ran 20 yards,
and it's just like Jesus Christ. So we've just needed 2 yards, but I did see on Baldy's Twitter was showing some of them ones. The big plays was the 3rd down, because I think Seth Brown had the run and they managed to like swarm it. And what the 49ers defense seems to do is that when they need to step up. I think they can play a terrible all game, but when it gets to big situations, they've got big time players. And I think it was Warner and I think Greenlaw, a few of them tackled him for that to let them make the decision. But I think that one, I agree with Campbell with that one. I think he should have gone for that one.
Yeah, it's just I think when with a 14-point lead as well. I think for me, just the value of being able to. The value of the opportunity, and yet again, the kick it's not a gimme, and it is tough, and you've got the backup. But you're thinking it's a 40, I think I've just had a look for it, so it'd have been a 45, I think it's 45-yard kick. The value of getting to 3 scores, at that point, I think outweighs the converting, and it's just...
And again, like I don't want to be confrontational about it, but like you think that, but like the analytical model disagrees with you.
No, it does, yeah. And
you know what I mean? So like and that's why I struggle with like the thing of like calling it a bad call. It's like the model disagrees with you, and Dan Campbell, who's aggressive, disagrees with it. Like
I think what the model doesn't do is it doesn't give you the feel of the game.
No, of course not.
And I think that's where I think there's just a bit sometimes where you have to.
But it does have game flow in there, to be fair. Like it does have. Like it's based on win percentage.
Yeah.
And if you convert there, you fail there, you do that there. What is your win percentage from there?
There's just a bit around. That passage you've gone into halftime 17 points up. You've kept the Niners to 3. You've in essence got the chance to you've just burned, 25% of what's remaining in the game, and you're at the same point. And I think if the line, honestly, I think if the Lions go 17 points up there again, I think that's game over. Because it's just it's the spark that you give the Niners all of a sudden by failing, and it's failing on them. It's not the Niners didn't come up with a great defensive play to stop them at all.
That one was a pure drop.
The play call was great. Everything was great in terms of the play. It's got you've not made your play in your key moment, and is that a bit around? Well, actually, do I want to be forcing that ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown in that moment and stuff, or Gibbs in that moment? But there's just a bit around where going. I think the value of the opportunity to get to 70, to get to 3 possessions again, outweighs everything else. And because you give the Niners a spark, and all of a sudden, within what was it, less than 2 minutes, the Niners, it's a 1-score game.
Yeah,
and I just think that I'm also everything's gone. Your momentum's gone, and then you've got a chance to tie the game.
But then. What happens to your momentum, though, when Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles the ball?
Yeah.
I forget the DB's name now. Decides to just bounce the ball back to Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah. And that's, It's crazy.
None of that has anything to do with a field goal or a choice of whether to go through it on fourth down. Those are the things that actually cost the Lions the game.
Yeah. And there's a bit around saying that it's easy for me because I was speaking to some of the Lions guys online, some of the guys we had guests on before, around saying, it's easy to say afterwards. Well, no, I was screaming when they were lining up to go for it. Kick the fucking ball, kick the field goal both times. And, and I think I'd still be saying, if it was me, I would have wanted my team to kick the field goals, even if they convert the fourth downs. But look, they went for it, and you got to give him credit for sticking to who he is and his philosophy. It just didn't work out. But I don't know if a bit of time after this is Dan Campbell going to regret the decisions. And again, easy to do it afterwards. But
I'd be stunned if he does. I don't think Dan Campbell's a man who regrets much.
He talked a lot in the press conference after the game around how this might be the last time we get here, how this might be their only chance.
And that's realistic.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased to see it as well, because I hate seeing the stuff after the games of well, they'll be back. And I posted on Twitter, it's sad for the Lions, and I'm sure they'll be competitive again next year. But I mean, the Dallas Cowboys haven't won a Super Bowl since 1994, question mark. When did the Niners last win one?
Yeah, 30 years.
And these are your prestige franchises. There's no guarantees.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger won one Super Bowl in his life. The Packers have had these Hall of Fame quarterbacks forever and ever. Forever and ever, and they won one each. Chicago Bears haven't had a 4,000-yard passer in the history. There's no guarantees. If the Jordan Love and the Packers,
they're just taking shots today.
Yeah, they deserve it. It's such an incredible start. If the Packers improve next year, though, they've got a better quarterback future, I think, than Detroit do. Detroit took luxury picks in the first round this year, which I disagreed with at the time. I still do now. Would they have been better off taking a running back who doesn't fumble in the championship game? Of course it is, yeah. I'm being flippant.
Crazy that he just ran the wrong side as well. It was just the setup of the play that was the problem, wasn't it? He just was the wrong side to go off. Yeah.
Well, I think that was just the crazy thing, because obviously he had the IU catch, which was crazy, how it just bounced off his head. I'm curious what would happen if he did intercept it with the flag. I wonder if they would have picked that up.
I think they still would have, because I think they would have given the penalty and just declined it if it was a case of I think they would give it all the doubt.
I thought a penalty on Lions.
No, they picked it up. On IU, yeah.
I thought it was in the Lions, and they just thought, we'll pick it up just because they caught it.
I thought it was on the Lions, and I think they just picked it up because it wasn't a penalty. But I don't actually know who it was on, I must say. So I'm presuming the same as you. But I think I don't think they picked it up just out of it doesn't matter. I think they normally just make the team decline it regardless.
But no, I agree. But I'm just
the pressure.
It's a different kind of pressure.
I understand.
When they've caught it, it's would the refs then be like, "Oh no, it's interception"? It would have been a lot bigger. But obviously, the third down was big as well, because I thought we can't get another field goal here, because it felt like that was going to happen, and they managed to squeeze it into IU, which I thought was a huge play. And then obviously the fumble on the first play, which was nuts. Gibson, again, like I mentioned, the Niners defense stepping up when they needed to. And then suddenly it's 24-0, which was crazy. And I think which was a huge play is the series after with the Lions, where again Reynolds dropped that third down where he was wide. He was wide up, straight into his chest, and he just went through his arms. And
that's a huge play as well. He's crossing as well. That might go for 20, 25 yards as well. Yeah.
So that was huge. And then the Niners go 7 minutes to just get a field goal, and at that point I was still like, shit, we've only just got a field goal here. We've only stopped him once. And then that takes us to the next fourth down, is when the Lions get all the way down to the 49ers 30, and it's 4-3. I would have probably kicked it there. I think that's the one. I understand why you're going through it, because, you're giving the Niners the ball back and it's all square, but it felt like, obviously if they didn't get it, the Niners would still score, because it felt like they had the momentum. Purdy had gone. I think he was going nuts at that point with his scrambling, and they scored on the 3 drives before that. They scored on each one, and he was doing all of that. So I was surprised that the Lions did go for that fourth down. I thought they would have tried to keep it all square, put the pressure back onto Purdy, but giving them the ball back with, because I think that was the big defensive play, like you said, switching back into zone.
Yeah.
And I think anything like Bosa stepped up the second half where he got a few pressures, and we, it's the whole thing we've always said, pressure Jared Goff and he's going to make mistakes. And I think he did have one or two where some errant throws. So I think that's the one I would have preferred to go for the field goal rather than going for it, just because how the game had gone.
But you wouldn't have wanted them to.
But obviously, it worked out for me. Yeah, if I was a Lions fan, obviously.
Yeah, and that second one, I think I was probably more shocked around the risk is even the Niners back and they can make it a 2-score game. It's game, it is game over at that point, and you're putting everything in then, and you're not giving the chance for players to make play. And
again, that's kind of why I disagree with it, because who do I want my season to come down to?
Yeah,
the players who got me there are
the
Michael
defense,
Badgley.
Yeah.
And the Niners went straight down the field and scored. So it's like, if you'd made the kick, they almost certainly would have went down the field and scored anyway because you weren't stopping them.
But you know what?
I agree. I agree with that, but I'm just curious because the pressure's different.
Yeah, of course.
The pressure's different from being free up to, where at the end of the day, I was surprised to score that touchdown again, being a Niners fan. I was expecting to go 3 and out, or Shanahan just go conservative 3 runs and then kick it back to them and say, come on, defense, you do it. Exactly. So I was surprised to do that, but I'm curious. So it's that whole thing. Again, you keep the momentum by stopping them, and then Brock Purdy runs along with that. But if they got the 3 points and he was 24, then the pressure would have ramped up again. It would have been different. So it's tricky to actually know how that would have gone.
And also, if we'd have got in a situation where the Lions are down by 7, they go and score, and he goes for 2, go for it. Go for it. Yeah.
Dan Skipper or Taylor
Maybe don't do that. Maybe don't run that play.
Do it.
But
from the 9-yard line, go on.
Yeah. Go for, and you tie up, you get to within 1 point and go for 2. Fuck it, go for it.
Hang on, so you're okay with him going for it?
I'm already going for it then,
aggressiveness. This is what I mean. It's all results based. You're absolutely fine with his aggressiveness.
I'm okay going for them because again, you know what? You're going in overtime. I don't know. Taught you coin toss. We might have to stop them.
I call this talking out of both sides of your mouth is the phrase I would use.
Make one play from the 2-yard line to win the game. That's different because there's so much.
Because you want it in your good player's hands, you don't want it in your kicker's hands. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
No, but I mean,
makes a lot of sense
in terms of when there's so much more game left to play. Because at that point, that doesn't win you the game, does it necessarily? Although I felt if they would have kicked the field goal, they probably would have won the game. But yeah,
just one thing before we move on from the game generally. Joe mentioned it there. Brock Purdy. Yeah, what a second half.
Yeah,
not just like he's scrambling his yards. Like I think he got 5 for just under 50. But like his movement in the pocket and his movement to buy time, that little dink to Kyle Juszczyk was just like beautiful. Kyle Juszczyk had another I think he only had 2 catches, but like
he did one to Jennings as well, where he scrambled and he
that's what I'm thinking of. Sorry,
yeah. I think I've seen Oleski's he's done the tip where he was showing that. He was saying there's a normal quarterback, you would just throw it straight, but you see Jack Campbell come. You must have seen Jack Campbell coming in from the right, because if he just threw it straight, it would have been an interception. So even so, like coming out of his right eye, and that's why he dinked it a little bit. And Ayuk was just behind him as well, so I think it gave Ayuk a chance. But yeah, that was crazy.
It was just such slow mo. I mean, it was slow mo for me. I dread to think how you were watching it, because it was like this ball's taking 5 minutes to come down. It's how the watching it me here.
Yeah, the Juszczyk one's where he somehow got out that a sack where it felt like it was a sack all day. It was doing like what Mahomes and Jackson does. And I think that's the thing. Like if any of them players did that, or like Josh Allen, everyone would be going nuts. But not many people have. And then the toe tap from Juice. But the scrambling, because they've all. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I always hear from other 49ers reporters where he's like I think his first 5 yards is like just as quick as like Lamar Jackson's was when he ran the
40.
When he ran the 40, it may have been the first 10 yards actually. It's like the split time is like crazy, his first 10 yards, and that's what he's great at. And that third, I think it was a third down where he scrambled out and got by the linebacker, guy with the long blonde hair, which is a huge possession just to keep it going. Anzalone, there you go. Where, if you're a slow quarterback, if you're Jimmy G, you're not getting around him. And I think that's one of the big things is they managed to just get the Jets on. So, yeah.
Yeah,
second half.
Great second half from Purdy and the Niners in general, and how it happened. But they executed on offense ultimately and got the job done. Debo back was big. He had a fairly big game. And that Ayuk catch is just insane. Oh, hello, Charlie.
Hello, Charlie wanted to say hello. He hasn't even been able to make his picks, but he wanted to say hello.
Oh, it's all right. We're hoping we'll be able to activate him off IR for Super Bowl.
You good boy? Did you say hello?
Oh, bless him. He's off. Love a Charlie appearance on the show. But yeah, we're all set up for a huge, Super Bowl 54 rematch. We'll get into that a little bit at the end of the show. But yeah, relieved more than anything. Joe, do you think? Is that the overall feeling?
Yeah, obviously relieved. I'm actually excited about this one. I think if it was the Chiefs of old, it would have been I'm saying that now with Chiefs still are winning, but it feels like we've got a better chance to win this. So yeah, excited for it, and we've actually got a team which can come back, and I'm a lot more confident with Purdy than, like I mentioned, with Jimmy G. I always felt like he was holding the team back, but I don't think Purdy's the same. Because I'll just put this now, because what's annoying me, there was like a few people talking heads saying, oh, if they'd lost this game, would there have been chatter if Purdy's the guy and looked for someone else and all this kind of stuff. And then I just think if, let's say Trey Lance was in his second year and he'd played exactly like Purdy played this year and got him this far, everyone would have been like, oh, the future's bright for the 49ers because this quarterback here has all these stats. And yeah, he may not look like a top end kind of player, but he still does it. But for some reason, with Purdy being so low, it's always diminishing. Like,
sticks with you.
Yeah, it's just like nuts that he's only in his second year.
Yeah.
People talking to him like he's Jared Goff or like Kirk Cousins, who's been around for ages. This is a guy who's in his second year, which is crazy.
It's a start.
Yeah,
like
after a big injury,
games after a the UCL injury. It's huge. Yeah, nonsense. Purdy's legit. Like it's not. Yeah,
he's not Mahomes tough level, but it could be like top 10, 10-9, that kind of level. And what else you need with this kind of team?
And it kind of blows my mind a little. Yeah. It's like he was picked. He was the last pick in the draft, and that should be celebrated, not as a stick to beat him with. And I don't know. I feel like if he was doing it for a team that aren't good, traditionally, people would enjoy it so much more. But it's like this is a 7th round fucking pick who beat out Jimmy G. It didn't beat him. He came in because he was injured, but Jimmy G was never getting that job back once he came in. They gave away Trey Lance because there was no chance he was keeping up with Brock Purdy. And it's just like, what does this guy need to do to get some fucking respect?
It's insane. Yeah. No Brock Purdy slander here at Good Teams and Great Teams Cover. Yeah. The guy's been incredible, and he's gonna carry on. He's gonna carry on being incredible because he's a really good football player, and he's got great people around him. Great team, great coach. Yeah, he's going to be just fine.
My only worry with Brock Purdy is, he's on that bargain rookie contract. How does he afford to live in San Francisco?
He's got a roommate, hasn't he?
Yeah,
oh my goodness, I forgot about that. You're right. Yeah.
There you go. Rent's cheap when you've got a buddy living with you. Right, yo. Niners Chiefs Super Bowl 58, Super Bowl 54 rematch in Las Vegas on the 11th of February. 12 days out as it is. We'll have a little look at it at the end of the show. But yeah, great to have good teams win, great teams cover representative in the Super Bowl. Let's have a look at how we did from our picks and competitions perspective. Joe, we're level now. So me and Joe at 7-5. A level at the top of the ATS picks competition. I was on the Chiefs and Lions.
2-0.
Yeah, 2-0 Chiefs and Lions, and also backed them with my money on ATS. Yes, I had a great week again. Joe, you were on Ravens and Lions, and Byron, you took the two favourites. Ravens -3.5, Niners -7, and didn't quite pay off.
Kind of a Lamar Jackson, more of a regular season guy.
This is where it counts, my friend. Oh, before we go on, we didn't do Niners, Lions bets. Any joy from you guys?
No, this is not the only week I haven't backed Jameson Williams to do something, so of course he shot I don't know if I won anything actually. I had a lot of Jameer Gibbs, and
Yeah, so did
none
I.
of which were Tim Fumble. So yeah, bad luck for me. Bad luck for the Lions. Bad luck for Jameer.
Yeah, I was on Lions -7.5, +7.5, and I also saw that touchdown at the end. Jameson Williams touchdown at the end was great. I had the under 52, obviously, which got blown out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I didn't bet any of the lines here. Sorry, you go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I thought Kittle would have a big game again, but it was surprisingly quiet. Yeah, whichever players. I did have Purdy over 7.5 rushes in the parlay, which went pretty well. But I also had Goff for an interception, which didn't quite work out. But yeah, so better luck next time.
Yeah,
but who cares? 49.
Yeah, you'll take it, right?
Who cares? A gambling show, Joe. Jesus Christ. Let's have a look at our draft playoff competition. I love how eager I am now to look at these things. Yeah. So I've won, right? Yeah, 6-0. So I've been electric through these.
I thought we were doing 5 rounds for the Super Bowl.
No, it was just 2. So yeah, I've been electric, and to be fair, I've been on the Chiefs all the way through, and that's why I'm 6-0. So yeah, I took the Chiefs +3.5 and the under in that game. Byron, you were on the over. Oh no, you weren't. You were on the under. Sorry, Lions, Niners, and the Ravens -3.5. So you went 0-2. You're at 2-4. Joe, you were on Ravens.
Joe's on Ravens -3.5. I was on 49ers -7. They both lost, if that helps.
Both lost. Yeah. So Byron, you're the one was the Niners as the favorite. Yeah. And Joe, you're over hit Lions, Niners. So yeah. 3-2-1 for you, 2-4 for Byron, 6-0 for me, and yeah, we're just going to see it out and play the games. I guess you two guys are playing for second place.
Yeah, I'd like to give you some a win pot to end the season.
Well, you didn't give me, did you? I've just picked really well. Is what's happened. That's it. I just needed all.
We left you these nice picks by mistake.
Yeah,
I pretty sure you said if you don't win one of these competitions, we're not doing the podcast next year. So.
Yeah.
I'll throw you a ball somewhere.
I just needed 18 weeks to get the ladle, and then I've just nailed the playoffs. Is what's happened. 11-4 on my postseason bet so far. So yeah, it's been very profitable. Then we're up to 56% on the year now as a result. So yeah, not too shabby at all. Should we have a look at Fantasy Game Day, Joe? Only 1 week left of Fantasy Game Day, so we are the guys are doing a Super Bowl Stars game. So yeah, if you're not playing, then why not play for the biggest game of the year? Go sign up now. Download your Fantasy Game Day app from your Google Play Store, Apple App Store, wherever. Sign up using promo code COVER, all in capital letters, and you'll get yourself a free place. You'll have 2 chances to win instead of just the one.
And if you want to be clever, what you can do is use that free play. Go 1 heavy Niners, 1 heavy Chiefs. Take a bit of each.
There you go. Great. Some sound daily fantasy advice there from Byron. It was very tricky to put a lineup together for this week, so I don't know how difficult it's going to be for the Super Bowl next week. But congrats to the winner, Pink won 762 with a score of 171.72. But I don't know how to describe this lineup. So the lineup has Sam Laporta as captain, which was a bit
heavy tight end lineup as well.
Yeah. Well, we also went 3 tight ends, to be fair.
Did we?
Well, we went Kelsey, Likely, and Kittle.
Okay, yeah. This one's better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's not as, like, obviously most people had McCaffrey and obviously Jameson Williams helps, which we had as well. But there was like a few stinkers, but I think our stinkers, for example, were a lot worse.
Yeah, Mark Andrews was quiet, but yeah, Kelsey had a huge game, as we've discussed. Williams with the 2 touchdowns. Debo had a pretty solid game. Montgomery, the Lions stayed committed to the run, which we talked about being a big thing they needed to do. It didn't quite work out. CMC, the touchdowns. And yeah, Goff, who had a pretty quiet, well, again, from a fantasy numbers perspective, yeah, fine game. And yeah, Sam Laporta.
If you told me Sam Laporta nearly had 100 yards in that game, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And when you sent the screenshot over of this earlier, I was like, Sam Laporta had 9 receptions for 97 yards. It felt like he had like 6 for 40 or something. And then he did. It's not a Photoshop. I was just really surprised. I didn't really feel he was that involved to me. But bold pick and paid off for old Pink 1762.
paid off, yeah. £120 winning payment as well. So yeah, so they'll be back in for Super Bowl stars, no doubt. So make sure you come and give it a go and get your lineup set. I guess it'll be 11:15 will be the time it will close, 15 minutes before the start of the Super Bowl. And yeah, get involved. Get yourself a lineup in, and yeah, and carry on playing next year because it's a fantastic game. We managed to get a prize again thanks to Jameson Williams' touchdown at the end. That got us as the last placed team to win a prize.
You don't have to say that, do you?
I want to say we're getting closer, but we're just getting further and further away. I think
as long as we're getting in the prizes, we're doing
winning. Yes, still winning money. Yeah, we should have gone for Ferguson instead of some of the other ones.
I don't think I'll ever put Anthony Ferguson in a DFS lineup.
No, definitely not. Right, yo. I mean, shall we do? We're not prepared for it, but should we do winners and losers? A quick.
Yeah, let's do
it. Joe, winner.
Let's go for Kelsey, cementing that he's probably the top 2 tight end because maybe even the best tight end. So I'll go Kelsey. Close him and Gronk, but yeah.
Yeah. Byron, your winner of the week?
Give it up for Brock Purdy. Tough situation. Yeah, he gets his journey on and comes out rocking in the second half. And yeah, fair play to him. Couldn't have done more, could he?
Yeah, fair. I mean, you've actually literally taken the winners of the games.
I've got another one.
Go on.
There's a side one. I said Greg Olsen has cemented the best commentator, the best analyst. I think he was incredible.
Last game as well.
Yeah.
Before I get shepherded out for Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I'm curious if someone else will try and get him because he's better. He's better than Romo now. I think.
And yeah, Romo could name his price a few years ago. So.
Mm-hmm.
I know maybe Amazon have obviously got Kirk Herbstreit, who's more of a college football guy, with Al Michaels.
Yeah, they were clearing that full booth out, to be fair.
Well, maybe
Al Michaels hated it.
Yeah, maybe also
to get rid of him. I don't care what his history is. He's not up to it.
Maybe
he didn't want to do it. Like,
yeah, and it's also just the games are shit, aren't
they? They are. Yeah,
yeah. It's just his heart's not in it. Yeah, I'm stuck throwing it now. Yeah, you know what? I'll give a shout out for the Detroit Lions fans. They made they were there in great numbers in Santa Clara and San Francisco at Levi Stadium. What a great kind of year it's been for them, and just the love of football. It's not necessarily the love of football has gone away, but they've just had so much shit over such a long period of time, and they've had a great run. And fingers crossed it's not, fingers crossed they do come back because. I think they're a great addition to kind of this postseason, and yeah, I just think they've been brilliant. So shout out Detroit Lions fans, even though they lost, it was a valiant loss, and yeah, I think they've been brilliant all year. Losers of the week. Are we just gonna go no losers this week?
Well, I was wondering who you're asking.
Go on, Byron, you go first.
Lamar Jackson. Love Lamar, but yeah, the game was there. And he very much did not turn up. The Ravens didn't, but yeah, he's the quarterback. He gets paid the big bucks. He had a really, really poor game.
Yeah, I've got a few losers this week, but I'll go for the people who thought the fix was in with the Ravens 49ers Super Bowl with the logo colours. But now apparently it's they changed the script midway for Swift, so obviously it was obvious that this was going to be the Super Bowl. So they're the losers for that. And also, I think there was, I don't know if you saw, there was one in like going around on X. There was a news or weather program in BC in Canada, which said that it was going to be Ravens versus 49ers. So that meant that obviously it's scripted, and yeah, everyone knew.
I love that because it's not like some random radio station isn't just testing out the graphics or accidentally put something in wrong. It's like there must be something going on. They've leaked it here. Seems legit.
My loser of the week might be a bit of an odd one, but it's going to be Usher. So usually in the build-up to the Super Bowl, and obviously the act or musician or artist that's playing the halftime show is the most talked about. Well, he's not going to be, is he? It's going to be Taylor Swift that's going to be talked about in the build up to the Super Bowl and yeah, up to the game. So yeah, Usher for being the second act at the Super Bowl is my loser of the week.
Do you think Swift's going to get a call from Usher to try and be like a guest on there?
No.
It's one thing to overshadow him when she's not performing. I think that'd be suicide note of performances. Just to be like,
have you seen this bet to see if Travis will propose if they win the Super Bowl?
Oh, what price?
If it's yes or no, I think like no's a lot. There's like a lot. I think most people thinking no, but you can guess a decent if you say yes.
I don't even think they're that cheesy. Just on the Usher note, I don't know if you guys get these commercials in. I'm not sure if they're built into the footage. Or if it's a US commercial thing. But when they introduce Usher and they're like, one of the most iconic performers on earth, and it's like, how long would the list have to be of iconic performers, even just alive, current as Usher is, before you'd get to Usher?
I was going to say maybe 15 years ago.
We'd get to 100. I don't know.
Like, I would be at the point of like going through my list again because I'm like, you know, if someone said to me that as a trivia question, I'm like, okay, you can't have heard all the answers I gave you because it must be one of these people before I'm thinking of Usher.
Should we do a draft of people we would take to do the Super Bowl halftime show before Usher?
Usher and Bears taking best shots this episode.
Poor Usher's done nothing wrong, but But yeah, it's such an odd word to describe him, like one of the most iconic.
Yeah. Even when he was like big, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, that is a low bar for iconic if he is.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's the end of my conference weekend thoughts.
Right, well, let's end that and let's just have a quick early look to the Super Bowl. We are, of course, going to do a full Super Bowl preview episode coming the week of the Super Bowl. Currently, let's have a look at it from a betting perspective. The Niners, as we stand, 2-point favourites, 49ers -2, over-unders 47.5. Early leans on this one. Joe, you have to take your heart out of it, I'm afraid. Where's your head? Where's the head going?
Where's the wallet going?
It's tricky because, again, it feels inevitable that the Chiefs are going to win. That's the problem I have. But I'm also confident that, like, if it was 3, I would say the Chiefs and the Niners might win by a point or 2. But being 2 points,
you'd love this.
I'm going to go
like Chiefs plus 3.5, wouldn't you? That'd be like a beauty spot.
Yeah.
More than a field goal. I can feel okay betting the Chiefs.
Exactly.
The Niners win by 3.
Exactly. But it feels inevitable that the Chiefs to win. But I think this is compared to when they played last time, I think the different teams, it feels like they've flipped weirdly.
I agree with that. Yeah.
That way the Chiefs are the stronger defense, but the 49ers are the stronger offense. So offense always wins. Let's go Niners. There you go. Go in the Niners. I think I'm going to go under though. I think under 47.5.
47.5. Byron, where are you leaning at the minute?
Yeah, leaning to the Chiefs money line, and obviously therefore plus as well. I think I'd be looking probably at the under. I must say, I think things that can't go out of your head really is. I don't know how the game ended. I don't know how the second half went, but for a lot of that game, the Lions kind of had their own way with both sides of that 49ers line, and Trent Williams is all pro tackle, but Joe, you've been saying all season there is issues on that line otherwise, and he kind of holds it all together. George Kittle, I think, had to hold in a lot. I think that's why he had a slower game this week, numbers wise, and I think that might be a repeat in the Super Bowl because.
Yeah, that's why I was shocked at the line. To be honest, I was expecting the Chiefs to be -1, -2. I was surprised that the Niners are, but there was a big injury, obviously, with Charles Omenihu from the Chiefs, who had that big fumble and whatnot. He's ACL, I think, so obviously he's out. It sounds like Tooney is going to be out as well, so they're 2 big players.
Yeah, I was about to comment on Omenihu as well, but yeah, I would lean the under. I think it's going to be a tight game. Again, if you're going to give me plus money on the Chiefs again, I'll take it. Yeah, but I'm not going to say I'd be stunned if the Niners won. but I'd pick the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Chiefs. I think it should be a really, really close game. I think it'll be really, really close, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's very similar to the way Super Bowl 54 kind of went. Again, yeah, same comment made earlier in the show. You just said it there, Byron. You're going to give me the Chiefs some points. Yeah. Until he doesn't win when they're underdogs, I'd be stupid not to take it. So yeah, and then yeah, if it's less than 3. I'll also be going money line as well, because yeah, it's just, again, you're going to give me more than even money on the Chiefs to win a game. Yeah.
You're not going to go through a back in Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, it's just crazy not to. So we'll be back. We're going to have like a bit of an interim episode to keep the 2 episodes a week up on at some point over the weekend, where we'll have a look back at all our pre-season futures predictions, which will make for interesting reading. So we'll do that. Before then, we jump in with our Super Bowl preview. We've already got one guest lined up, which is Paul Hope from the 49ers UK 49ers Faithful UK group and podcast. So it'll be great to talk to Paul about his feelings on the 49ers. We'll also get a Chiefs guest lined up as well. And then you'll get mine, Byron, and Joe's take on the big game as well. And then, yeah, we'll get to the part of wrapping up our second season of Good Teams Win Great Teams cover. We're on track for, I think, at some point, not during the off season, we'll hit 100 episodes, which is crazy. So, yeah, that'll be fun. We'll get the balloons out for that one. But thanks for joining us. And yes, we'll be back for our Super Bowl preview show. As always, go give us a follow. Good Teams Win Great Teams cover over on Spotify, at GTW_GTC on Twitter, X, Instagram, YouTube, if you want to see our faces with the audio, and TikTok. Fingers crossed we can activate Charlie from IR for a final pick of the season for Super Bowl. If not, we'll get Byron picking up the dog treat for his pick. Yeah, I've said it now. So, well, thanks always, and we'll be back next week.
Cheers.